The world is on edge. You can feel it in the air, a sense of unease, a fear of what's to come. We are facing a silent storm, threatening to engulf us all. This is the unseen credit crisis, and it's worse than you think. It's not just numbers, it's real lives being crushed under debt. The alarm bells have been ringing, but often drowned out by everyday noise. We hear whispers of rising interest rates and inflation, but life goes on, hoping the storm will pass us by. However, the reality is far more unsettling. The credit crisis is already seeping into our lives, impacting everyone. This crisis is not just a statistic, it's a story of human struggle. This is not a time for complacency, it's a time for awareness and action. To truly grasp the gravity of our situation, we must first understand the delicate balance upon which our financial system rests. Imagine a giant Jenga tower, each block representing a different part of the economy. Remove one block and the whole structure weakens. Remove enough and the entire tower collapses. This is the essence of a credit crisis. It starts with a small crack in the system, a sudden loss of confidence in borrowers' ability to repay debts. This can be triggered by economic downturns, irresponsible lending, or global instability. Lenders tighten their purse strings, making it harder and more expensive to borrow money. This credit crunch ripples through the economy, impacting businesses, consumers, and governments. The 2008 financial crisis is a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of a full-blown credit crunch. The seeds of the current credit crisis were sown long before the headlines began to blare. Years of low interest rates and lax lending standards created an environment ripe for excessive borrowing and risky investments. The subprime mortgage crisis, where loans were given to borrowers with poor credit history, was a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. And explode it did, sending shockwaves across the global financial system. The collapse of the subprime mortgage market in the United States triggered a domino effect, bringing down financial institutions, freezing credit markets, and plunging the world into the worst recession since the 1930s. While the immediate crisis may have subsided, the scars remain. Governments and central banks around the world injected trillions of dollars into the financial system to avert a complete meltdown. These unprecedented measures, while necessary at the time, have left many countries saddled with enormous debt burdens. The global economy is now more interconnected than ever before. What happens in one corner of the world can quickly spread to others. The ongoing COVID-19 pandemic is a case in point. The pandemic has exposed the fragility of global supply chains, disrupted businesses, and led to widespread job losses. These factors, combined with rising inflation, geopolitical tensions, and the lingering effects of the 2008 crisis, have created a perfect storm for a new credit crisis, one that could be even more severe and far-reaching than the last. For many, the American dream includes owning a home. However, the current credit crisis is turning this dream into a nightmare for millions. Rising interest rates, coupled with soaring housing prices, have made it increasingly difficult for people to enter the housing market. Those who already own homes are not immune to the crisis either. Many homeowners are finding themselves trapped in mortgages they can no longer afford. Adjustable-rate mortgages, once touted as a way to get a foot on the property ladder, have become a financial burden as interest rates rise. The threat of foreclosure now looms large for many families. Losing a home is not just a financial setback, it's an emotional upheaval that can have long-lasting consequences. The stress of mounting debt, the fear of losing their home, and the uncertainty of the future can take a toll on individuals and families. The pursuit of higher education, once seen as a pathway to a brighter future, is now leaving millions of young people saddled with crippling student loan debt. The cost of college tuition has been skyrocketing for years, far outpacing inflation and wage growth. Many students are forced to take out large loans to finance their education, often with little understanding of the long-term financial burden they are taking on. The average student loan debt in the United States is now over $37,000, and the total student loan debt has surpassed $1.7 trillion. This debt burden is having a ripple effect throughout the economy. Young people burdened with student loans are delaying major life decisions, such as buying homes, getting married, and starting families. This delay in major life events has a negative impact on economic growth and societal well-being. Small businesses are the backbone of the American economy, accounting for the majority of new job creation. However, they are also among the most vulnerable during a credit crisis. Small businesses often operate on tight margins and rely heavily on credit to manage cash flow, invest in growth, and weather economic downturns. When credit markets tighten, small businesses are often the first to feel the pinch. They may struggle to secure loans, face higher interest rates, or find that their existing lines of credit have been reduced or revoked. This lack of access to credit can be devastating for small businesses, leading to closures, layoffs, and a ripple effect throughout local economies. The COVID-19 pandemic has further exacerbated the challenges faced by small businesses. Lockdowns, supply chain disruptions, and a decline in consumer spending have forced many small businesses to close their doors permanently. Section 7, A Global Pandemic, The Ripple Effect. The COVID-19 pandemic has been a stark reminder of just how interconnected and fragile our world truly is. The pandemic triggered a global health crisis, which quickly morphed into an economic crisis of unprecedented scale. Lockdowns and travel restrictions brought global trade to a standstill, disrupting supply chains and causing widespread job losses. Governments around the world responded with massive spending programs to support their economies and provide relief to businesses and individuals. While these measures were necessary to prevent a complete economic collapse, they have also led to soaring levels of government debt. The pandemic has also exposed and exacerbated existing inequalities. The economic fallout has disproportionately impacted low-income communities, people of color, and women. These groups were already facing systemic barriers to economic opportunity, and the pandemic has only made things worse. Section 8. The Looming Shadow of Recession. The global economy is facing a confluence of challenges that have raised fears of a looming recession. Inflation is soaring in many parts of the world, driven by supply chain disruptions, increased energy costs, and strong consumer demand. Central banks are responding by raising interest rates to try to tame inflation. However, raising interest rates too quickly could trigger a recession by slowing down economic activity. Businesses may cut back on investment and hiring, while consumers may reduce spending due to higher borrowing costs. The war in Ukraine has further added to global economic uncertainty. The war has disrupted energy markets, increased food prices, and led to increased geopolitical tensions. The conflict has also highlighted the interconnectedness of the global economy and the potential for regional conflicts to have far-reaching economic consequences. Section 9. Navigating the Storm, Strategies for Survival. While the current economic climate may seem bleak, there are steps individuals can take to navigate the storm and protect their financial well-being. The first step is to acknowledge the problem and avoid burying your head in the sand. The sooner you recognize the potential impact of the credit crisis on your life, the better equipped you will be to weather the storm. Creating a realistic budget and sticking to it is crucial. Identify areas where you can cut back on spending and prioritize essential expenses. Explore options for reducing debt, such as consolidating high-interest debt or negotiating lower interest rates with creditors. Building an emergency fund is more important than ever. Aim to have 3 to 6 months' worth of living expenses saved in a readily accessible account. This fund will provide a financial cushion in case of job loss, unexpected medical expenses, or other emergencies. Consider diversifying your income streams. This could involve taking on a side hustle, freelancing, or exploring passive income opportunities. Having multiple sources of income can provide a safety net if one income stream is disrupted. Section 10. A Call for Action. Rethinking our financial future. The current credit crisis is not merely a bump in the road. It's a symptom of deeper systemic issues within our financial system. Addressing these issues requires a multifaceted approach involving individuals, policymakers, and financial institutions. Policymakers need to implement regulations that promote responsible lending practices, prevent excessive risk-taking by financial institutions, and protect consumers from predatory lending. Investing in education and job training programs can help equip individuals with the skills they need to succeed in a changing economy. Financial institutions must move away from short-term profit maximization and adopt a more sustainable and socially responsible approach to lending. This includes providing clear and transparent information to borrowers, offering affordable credit options, and working with borrowers facing financial hardship. Ultimately, creating a more stable and equitable financial system requires a shift in mindset. We need to move away from a culture of excessive consumption and debt and embrace a more sustainable approach to economic growth that prioritizes the well-being of all members of society. The road ahead may be challenging, but by working together and embracing change, we can create a more resilient and equitable financial future for all.
Hello guys, welcome to Rokon TV. Here we talk about social issues affecting society as a whole. Guys, if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, I'm kindly asking you guys to please subscribe. And you can also follow me on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Thank you guys. Bye.